Recently promoted, right? What's your
Yes.
title? What's your title now?
Company vice president. They tell me that makes me very important.
That's up there. Next in line. Next in line. There we go.
Yes, sir.
So how's everything going?
Dude, it is going so well.
Yeah.
This is our first year at Edge, so weren't really sure what to expect. Obviously, been a part of the CSCMP for a while, and familiar enough, but so far so good. It's a different show. We've of course been at the MHI shows before.
Yes, definitely,
and, we were out at the PAC Expo show earlier this year in Vegas,
Okay, yeah.
a few weeks back, and so yeah, things are going really well, and customers keep coming to us, and we're having good conversations.
Well, that's good. Yeah.
Couldn't ask for more, man.
Definitely. So tell us a little bit about Yard Management Solutions for those that are not familiar.
Yes, sir. Yeah. So Yard Management Solutions, we're, as you know, I've been a big fan of the podcast. We've been on a couple times.
Yes. Yeah.
Huge fan. Anybody who's not subscribed, definitely subscribe. It's worth it.
Thank you.
What we do is we provide software for shipping yards. So similar to like what automation and visibility gets brought inside of the warehouse with a WMS. That's kind of what we do outside in the yard. A lot of companies come to us not because they're managing their yard poorly. In fact, quite the opposite. Usually they're doing so well that they've outgrown their manual processes, right? The
interesting.
paper, the pencil, the spreadsheets, the radios, all that stuff served them very well until all of a sudden it didn't.
Yeah.
And so they come to us because they're looking for visibility. They're looking for a tool to see what's in their yard. And it's interesting, actually out at ProMat earlier this year, we had one of our customers come to us from one of the stakeholders from Michelin, one of our customers. And he was telling us, they came to us because they had severe detention issues in the yard.
Yeah.
And of course, we helped them solve that. But that was like, I call it the iceberg effect. That's like the 20% you see, right? Very obvious when you're paying crazy amount of money. But the 80% below that is what they didn't realize. So he was sharing with me, they ended up saving 30%. They saw a 30% reduction in jockey driver travel distance.
Oh, wow.
At a single facility because now jockeys are using a tablet. They've got their move queue. They're going through making their moves, as opposed to just on a radio all day long, and not always easy to control what they're doing. So anyhow, it's cool to get those stories, and that's why we come to these shows, really.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I think that's such a great thing too to see. I'm curious, like in that sense, because we talk a lot about the automation and putting systems in place inside the warehouse, right? And Yard Management Solutions is focused on the outside, right? Essentially. Yeah. So when you do that, and you look inside a warehouse, you set up locations within the racking or on the floor, however you have it laid out. I mean, are you looking at the same thing in the yard as well? Are you setting up specific locations, and then you're able to better understand where inventory is? Say if you have like something you go out of stock at in the warehouse, and then you're able to quickly locate that it's on a trailer outside in your yard. I mean, is that kind of the setup and optimization that happens when you kind of initially come on board?
No, it's a good analogy. A lot of our customers have drawn spots already on their yard, and they've got the lines already out there, but some of them don't. I always joke when we're bringing a new customer on, yes, we can track the drawn spots, but if you've got that dirt parking lot across the street at the church or whatever, or the street parking, nobody wants to say that, but sometimes they're parking stuff on the street. We get it. And so for us, it's less about trying to fit our customers into some sort of like mold they have to fit into, and more about what are you guys using now? What are you referring to locations as now? And then we'll fit that into the system. So a lot of YMS systems out there will do this similar to how a WMS will, or to how advanced systems will inside the warehouse with tagging. Right. And they'll tag trailers. Maybe they'll do it with GPS. Maybe they'll do it with RFID. And our take on this, having worked with a wide variety, all different parts of the industry, is RFID belongs in the warehouse. I mean, there's some critical reasons why you want to know where things are, right? And to your point, racking, how high up is it, at what specific location? The trick is in the yard, a lot of our customers don't own their own assets. So it's a little bit different when you're dealing with carrier trailers coming in, or 3PLs are helping manage this, a yard, for example. So our opinion, and this bears out just in the numbers and in the spend it ends up costing, is that sensor-based systems in the yard just aren't worth the spend. The ROI is not there. great use cases at the gate, I would say, just for check-in, check-out. But when it comes to locating a specific spot, so the natural next question, well then, how do you know where it is then, right? If you're not tagging it, how do you know? So for us, it's very simple. We build a map. It has the spots or the zones. If it's that dirt parking lot, right? We just call it that and say there's 10 spots there.
Yeah.
And then when that trailer checks in, the person at the gate says, all right, hey, I want you to go to, yard spot 75. And the driver pulls over to yard spot 75. If they park it one spot to the left or one spot to the right, are you getting the exact location? Maybe, maybe not. But the thing is that most of our customers are already doing yard checks, right? But they're doing 3-4 a day. With our system, we're going to cut that time in half. We're going to have to do less of them. But when they have to do it, if they got to move a trailer to the left or to the right, it's just a drag and drop, right? So we're making things simple.
Very interesting. Yeah. I mean, I think it's such a great thing. And like you said, like, I mean, you run into situations where, especially like, we're coming into peak season right now, you're going to have extra trailers than you normally would throughout the year. And maybe you're using that gravel lot next door or something, or the street, like you said. I mean, it's just, a little dangerous, but, definitely good to have that visibility and understanding, especially when you're increasing in scale, and you're increasing your volume of inbound and outbounds. You don't want to lose a trailer, especially at a critical time when you're looking at that inventory and thinking like, I need to get that inventory in the building. Now all of a sudden you can't find that trailer. Like, what are you going to do, right? It's the same as inside the warehouse. You lose a pallet and it's critical inventory, and now you're like, oh my gosh, now I'm going to miss out on all these orders, right? So, I mean, it's definitely a very, very important thing and a tool to have in your tool belt to make your operation a lot better and a lot smoother. I'm curious, because you guys are focused specifically on the yard itself. You built this system for the yard, right? But we see like a lot of providers too where, there's a YMS maybe built into WMS or something like that. Talk to us about, why somebody should focus on like a best-in-class maybe versus like a complete suite that maybe has YMS tied to it.
No, that's a great question. I mean, our booth is right next to Manhattan and right next to Fort Heights. So we're surrounded by, competition.
Battle Royale over there.
No, it's great though. I love, we see them at all the shows. It's a lot of fun. No, that's a good question, because a lot of systems out there will provide what generally is called like a bolt-on YMS. It's sort of like, they'll sell it to you, but it's not what they're really focused on.
Right.
What I always say is that, look, just like you wouldn't try to sell somebody a less than solution inside the warehouse, you shouldn't in the yard either. And if you're settling for that, you're going to end up with very similar pain points to having a less than system as having no system at all. And a lot of our clients come to us because they have a solution and they're outgrowing that, right? So it's not just, we of course work with folks that are on paper and pencil, but a lot of times we have a bolt-on solution. It's not working for us for these reasons. And look, we're more than happy to integrate. We have no issues integrating with TMS systems, with WMS systems. That's bread and butter, man. You got to do that in this industry, right? We love working with these companies. In the future, might we provide a full suite? I don't know. I guess we'll see, Kevin.
Is that a little foreshadowing? Okay.
Yeah, but we really are. We're laser focused on the yard right now because it's a piece of the industry that is underserved, frankly.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so you call us a specialty vendor, call us what I say is, look, we provide the best YMS in the industry. You're welcome to look elsewhere, but I challenge you to find a better solution.
Okay. All right. The challenge has been laid. So we'll see who accepts the challenge. But I think additionally, I'm curious your thoughts, because you guys are focused so much on the yard. I'm curious your thoughts on autonomous vehicles now coming into play as switchers and things within the yard. I mean, how does that kind of play into yard management solutions, and have you guys developed solutions to interact with those?
My mind is on that every day, dude.
Okay.
It's here, and there's companies doing some really interesting things. We've talked to a lot of them. There's companies out there retrofitting, switcher vehicles, jockey vehicles. There's companies building entirely new autonomous vehicles. So it's here. A lot of it comes down to what kind of initial investment is any, company out there willing to make. And so we're ready. Our system is well prepared, both in terms of integration. We have all the API endpoints already built to support autonomous vehicles.
Yeah.
We're ready for it. It really does take somebody willing to take that risk. And that's something that is can be a hard pill to swallow. We're pretty risk adverse in this industry for very good reason.
Oh yeah.
You know,
definitely.
And so I firmly believe it's something that is gonna there may be a tipping point, you know, in the future where it's here, maybe not fully adopted, and then it'll get cheap enough, it'll get widespread enough to become adopted. And I think that's going to happen well before any autonomous over-the-road vehicles really come into play. I mean, the obvious place to start is the yard.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think that makes total sense. And obviously from even like a safety perspective too, I think it's a huge thing. But I mean, it's great to hear that you guys are ready for that and prepared to integrate with that. So I think it'd be really interesting to see how that grows, because I think that's an interesting thing. And like you said before we hit the road, I think it makes sense to like perfect it in the yard, right? And then we'll see like how it gets out the gate at some point, right? So I'm curious, you know, aside from yard management solutions, I mean, what's the most exciting thing or interesting thing happening in the industry right now, do you think?
You know what? This is gonna sound crazy.
All right, let's hear it.
Recently, there has been a huge flare-up. You maybe have seen it in a good sense. A flare-up, I guess, is kind of a bad connotation, but a really good resurgence of activity of all things Twitter, or X, as it were. The artist formerly known as Twitter.
Yeah.
Freight X is popping off right now. Well, I'm in a killer Discord group called Lost Freight.
Yeah.
Really phenomenal people from all across the industry, and it's all
Lost Freight. I saw that's the hat you're wearing.
Yeah.
Please advise.
The Please Advise hat.
Yeah.
And the cool thing is it's really just folks in the industry who want to help each other. It's not focused on even making money, or it's really focused on how can we educate, how can we help each other, how can we, you know, build up folks who are new in the industry, young people coming up. And for those that are experienced, getting ready to retire, how can they pass along the knowledge that they've gained? Honestly, it's the most exciting thing in this industry happening right now, in my opinion. Just because there's so many people, so many different walks of life that are invested in helping.
Yeah. You know, people want to collaborate and they want to work together and they want to learn too. Because I think a lot too is, you know, we look at a lot of the technology that's now coming into play, and a lot of people are new to the industry in that sense from these startups and trying to learn more. So it's great to see that community is building and being helpful and wanting to work together and using, you know, this different tech and social media to make that happen. So really interesting stuff. So Colin, always a pleasure.
Dude, thank you so much.
Yes, thanks for coming by. Thank you as always for supporting and congratulations on the promotion too.
Hey, thank you, bro. Appreciate you, man. Yeah.
Definitely.
Good luck rest of the show.
Thanks everyone. Thank you.